Welcome back to the news at 10. Nigerian youths have been challenged to take interest in politics by registering with political parties of their choice and participating actively in governance. Well, this is coming from the Senior Special Assistant to the former President, Goodluck Jonathan, Dr. Reuben Abati, who advised the youths to get a good education if they must take charge of the country's affairs. And for the former Minister of Education, Mrs. Obi Ezekwesili, who also spoke at the Youth Forum in Abuja, the time for the Nigerian youth to act is now.
In this hall are young Nigerians who desire to see the inclusion of their peers in the nation's development. Statistics from the National Population Commission shows that youths constitute over 65% of the population. But how can the expertise of this group of Nigerians be harnessed? Former Minister of Education gives a tip on this.
Something interesting. Picture of the future, that if our youths are not participating in politics at this point in time, those who are dreaming are going to be having a mental image of a life that they're not going to be part of.
While the clamour for the inclusion of youths has been on the rise recently, some speakers at the event believe that youths must first be involved in the activities of political parties.
If you look at the structure of our political parties, the nature of Nigeria, a lot is done to exclude young people. If we say for you to aspire to so position, you must bring 10 million or bring 15 million. How many young people can provide that? So there is need for demonetization of the political process to open up the space for marginalized groups like women and youths to get more involved.
There was also criticism of the federal government's 5 billion naira special intervention fund. For them, a large chunk of the funds should have been channeled into agricultural and youth development.
I want to say that we need to invest more in agriculture because some of these interventions are not sustainable. We're looking at driving our economy towards a sustainable manner. So we need to see how, and now that the prices of oil has really gone down, we need to see how we can dwell on agriculture.
Nigeria is yet to attain the acceptable percentage of youth in governance.
There are examples.
Many Nigerians would, however, be eager to see steps taken to address this gap.
To security matters, where 2 judges in Kogi State have been abducted by gunmen at different locations within the state. Justices Aliyu Okeme and Timothy Ali are reported to have been kidnapped while on official duty. Justice Okeme was abducted along Ida Road, while Justice Ali was abducted on his way to court in Dekina Local Council area. The police public relations officer in the state confirmed the kidnap, saying police officers are working to find the abductors. Now, the Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has handed out checks totaling 367 million naira to missionary primary schools in the state. The governor, who gave out the checks to the Anglican and Catholic archbishops at the Ekwulobia and Onitsha respectively, reminded the communities that the money is to be used for the upgrade of schools in their jurisdiction.
There's excitement in the air at the school central field, Ekwulobia, Agwata local government area of Anambra State, as the Dean of the Anglican Communion and Archbishop of the Diocese, along with its bishops, other clergymen and pupils, welcome the Governor of the state, Willie Obiano. The occasion is a presentation of a check in the sum of 150 million naira for the upgrade and development of infrastructure in missionary primary schools across the state. The governor has waited until this time for a reason.
I delayed in making this presentation because I had to send a team of auditors to vet how they utilized the money they were given last year when I came into office. And I must confess that I'm very happy to announce that the money was very well utilized.
The chairman of the Universal Basic Education Board in the state and the State Commissioner for Education reel out the achievements of the education sector in the state under the current governor.
The state has constructed 291
new 4 classroom blocks representing a total of 1,164 classrooms, renovated 218 4-classroom blocks representing 1,090 classrooms.
Beyond that too, we are talking about lifelong skills which we are going to give to our children and which we are working towards and actually achieving a lot there.
The check is handed over to the delighted Dean of the Anglican Communion.
I stand promising you, by the grace of God, we will never fail you. I will never fail Anambra State.
The Basilica of the Most Holy Trinity in Onitsha is the next stop. The Archbishop of the Ecclesiastical Province receives the governor into this large hall filled with teachers, pupils and their parents. At this Catholic mission, the check is for 270 million naira because they have more schools than the Anglican Communion.
Today, we are proving to be a first-class government.
Governor Obiano encourages the principals of the different missionary schools to continue executing laudable projects as they have done in the previous year, and he promises to reward their efforts with more if they do so. He's also given funds to non-religious public and private schools this year.
Less than 2 weeks after the Minister of State for Petroleum announced the new price regime for petrol, the federal government has also made known its intention to withdraw subsidy on fertilizer. The Minister of Agriculture, Audu Ogbe, announced this at a forum in Abuja, saying that the decision will ensure the availability of the product to farmers. According to the minister, there are also plans to ensure that farmers access loans at single-digit rates to meet the growing demand for agricultural produce.
Key players from the West African region gathered to deliberate on how to address constraints which serve as impediments to the supply, distribution and use of fertilizer. This issue is critical, seeing that food imports into the region is now estimated at $35 billion. Meeting the critical need of its growing population through access to fertilizer is what remains on the priority list of these experts.
Our aim in the very near future is to see if we can slowly withdraw that subsidy on one condition: that we can get the fertilizer to the farmer early enough and that we can get credit to the farmer on schedule and at a repayable single-digit interest rate. With the work done in our ministry by our research persons, one of whom is Dr. Chude here, we have now produced a soil and crop-specific fertilizer for the Nigerian user. Farmers who have experimented on this have found that their yields have risen appreciably.
Some suggestions from speakers at the forum focused on increased lending to farmers and ensuring that members of the private sector are involved in the distribution of fertilizer. This, according to them, will provide income for farmers and ensure food security.
The lack of access to fertilizer, either in absolute supply, quality, or price, has been a serious constraint to agricultural productivity in Africa.
The population in Africa by 2050, it will more than double and reach more than 2 billion people. And that does not only imply that there will be an increase in demand of food, there will also be a growing middle class, an urban middle class, with changing food patterns. There will be a much greater emphasis on diversity of food, on food safety. And there will be a greater demand for meat, for fish, for vegetables.
Besides all these suggestions, leaders in the West African region are also expected to back policies that affect fertilizer production and distribution with action.
Well, news is just reaching us in the last couple of minutes that there are indications that a second Chibok girl has been rescued in Borno State. This is contained in a text message which was sent to our correspondent by the Acting Director, Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman. It's gathered that there was a major military operation in a part of the area, but it's not clear if this rescue is a fallout of the said exercise. Just to say again that a second Chibok girl has been rescued in Borno State, there are indications of that. And this is contained in a text message which was sent to our correspondent by the Acting Director of Army Public Relations, Colonel Sani Usman. There was a major military operation in that area, but we do not yet know if this rescue is a fallout of that exercise. From there, we're going to move on to business news. Here's Melinda Akinlami.
You first. First Bank.
Many thanks, Ijoma. Welcome to Business News. Plans are in top gear by officials of the Bank of Industry to train members of the National Association of Small-Scale Industrialists on how to get loans. The BOI Acting Managing Director, Mr. Wahid Olagunju, who was speaking at a meeting with officials of the association in Abuja, says a large chunk of small businesses fail to get loans from banks because they don't know how to apply. The national president of the association promised to work with the BOI to create a robust business environment for its members.
200 business development service providers. They are SME consultants. Their major mandate is to help SMEs package their loan applications to us, because studies have revealed that as much as 9 out of every 10 SMEs that apply for bank loans in this country do not provide the information required by banks to be able to arrive at good decisions in terms of investments. So that's why we appointed those BDSs to help build the capacity of current and potential customers and help them prepare bankable applications to the Bank of Industry. And we tied their remuneration to the successes achieved along the line in this process.
We have rebuilt NASI. Now we have come to tell him about the confidence they should expect from us, that NASI is no more what it was. This is a new administration. We have looked into several areas. If you were here on time, you could have heard when I spoke, and gave every assurance that NASI is being reorganized.
Oil prices tumbled today as U.S. rate hike expectations lifted the dollar. And although concerns of more supply disruptions from Nigeria's main crude oil terminal and an extension of a force majeure by Canada's Sanco Energy added to the woes, Brent contract for July was down 8 cents to $48.85 a barrel after Akwa Ibom, Nigeria's largest terminal, was closed due to an attack by militants. Market watchers expect yields at the Nigerian Treasury bills and the federal government bond market to expand to just a few of the predictions ahead of the monetary policy meeting, which is taking place next week. At a primary market auction held on Wednesday, the central bank sold 110.93 billion naira worth of Treasury bills at higher yields, which reflects a spike in headline inflation. The bank sold 32.43 billion naira of the 3-month paper at 8.1%, 22.82 billion naira of the 6-month paper at 9.2%, while the 1-year paper was sold at 12.48%. The Nigerian stock market's all-share index crossed the 27,000 level after a third rise in the week. Harriet Agbe has the details.
Thursday's trade saw investors stake 2.73 billion naira on 498.78 million shares as bullish sentiments continued at the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The all-share index notched up higher, adding almost 1% to close at 27,028.24, with market capitalization at 9.28 trillion naira. 33 stocks recorded gains, led by FCMB, Etena Oil, and GT Bank. On the flip side, NCR dropped 9.65% from its share price to lead Union Homes down 9.43%, Unilever Nigeria, and 14 other laggards. Diamond Bank, Evian Holdings, and Continental Insurance were the most actively traded today. And those are the day's trading figures. I'm Harriet Agbinyi.
Thank you so much, Harriet. And across the globe, concerns over a possible hike in U.S. interest rates has put major markets in the red. These are the numbers. That's Business News. Thank you so much for watching. The News at 10 continues in a moment.
You first. First Bank.
Thanks, Melinda. Now, as part of plans to drive its corporate social responsibility, Slot Systems Limited, an indigenous company for affordable mobile phones, has launched the Slot Foundation and Academy. 40 pioneer students today graduated from the Slot Academy at a short ceremony held in Lagos. And at the occasion, the chairman of Slot Foundation, Mr. Nnamdi Ezigbo, said the academy was born out of the desire to give back to society and encourage youth entrepreneurship.
This is the formal launch of the Slot Academy, an initiative of the Slot Foundation. The occasion was put together as the organization seeks to build an appreciable level of technological competence coupled with an entrepreneurial drive.
The mission of the foundation is to help and to equip young people with vocational skill, is to enhance employability, is to engender youth entrepreneurship. For us, we believe that you need competence for you to become an entrepreneur.
For the parent company, Slot Systems Limited, business is not only about profit. Being socially responsible is equally important.
Slots have been existing for like 18 years, so the only way we can appreciate and acknowledge the site is by giving back to the youths, the young entrepreneur. And that is basically what everything is all about today.
About 40 students are the pioneers of this academy, and it's time to receive their certificates and startup tools. But first, a word from the Lagos State Technical Education Board.
I don't know whether you know what has happened to your life today. It's a major change. You cannot be an entrepreneur. You cannot create wealth without having some competencies, and this is what has been given to you.
Now I can start up a small business on my own. Now I can replace the such of phone that is having maybe touchpad, screen, charging ports, AP or connection, wherever.
Why? Because
Then a parting shot from the Slot brand ambassador.
With you people here, I see what you have in front of you from Slot Foundation, Slot Academy, Engineering Startup Kit. This is an opportunity that has been given to you now. This is an opportunity, first of all, that you embraced. And then now you have gotten knowledge. Believe you me, my brothers, this is the best thing that you can do right now.
Slot Systems Limited is an indigenous information technology company known for its affordable and durable mobile phones and a first-class after-sales support service.
Manufacturers have been advised to step up efforts to bridge the gap between small and large-scale companies. And that message was given today at the inauguration of the Large Corporations Group by the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria.
Some industrialists say the result of economic diversification is often judged by the relationship between large-scale companies and the small-sized industries. These manufacturers have come together to drive this cause to fruition through the inauguration of the Large Corporations Group.
I have the honor of inaugurating you as members. Congratulations.
Energy remains a critical need for large and small corporations. The members discussed this, and the Minister of State for Trade and Investment, Ms. Aisha Abubakar, reiterates government's commitment to improving the situation.
There's a plan in place for renewable energy and other sources of energy. We're not going to totally rely on just what we have right now. I also know that there are plans for us to reach up to 10,000 megawatts by the year 2019.
The inauguration is put together by GE, an energy generating company that prides itself in lighting up the populace.
We have a tremendous suite of products that are suitable for manufacturing electricity generation that range all the way from half a megawatt, and we can go all the way to 50 megawatt or more.
Manufacturers yearn for energy diversification, a solution believed to be in public and private partnership.
We want to give our members in that large group a sense of belonging, and we want them to be able to, the group to be able to cater for the peculiar needs of this large group.
So our partnership with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria is to find ways to promote the development of captive, distributed or embedded power that are kind of targeted at clusters of industries and manufacturers that will really sort of facilitate their sustainable business models and also to ensure that they remain competitive.
We would welcome very much a presentation to the Ministry of Power as well as industry and other related ministries like agriculture. If we could all have a presentation made on these alternative sources of power, I'm sure we would find ways to augment what we're already doing.
The promotion of supply value chain between large corporations and small-scale firms may be a challenge, but perhaps the manufacturers can easily realize this when electricity becomes regular.
Still ahead on the news at 10, back injury forces former world #1 Roger Federer out of the French Open. That's on sports. To join us again.